Hey, Christina, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, thank you. Thanks for reaching out. And we're at Eastern Propane Oil. We're super excited to hear a little bit more about Climb for Clean Air and just figure out what you got going on, what you're training for, what's the big event, why you're involved, and we're happy that we can kind of help out and fuel your adventure.
Yeah, so the Climb for Clean Air, it's basically an event that supports the American Lung Association. And RMI Guides, which is out of Washington, they basically donate a guided trip up Rainier. I think there's a couple other mountains that they do as well, but each participant has to raise a minimum amount of money that will go completely to the American Lung Association, and all of the money will be used for lung health and COVID research. So that was one of the things that really interested me about it. And I always wanted to do Rainier this year, but I checked a little bit too late, and all of the guiding companies were totally full. So somebody actually recommended the Climb for Clean Air to me that did it a few years ago, and she said it was totally awesome. She made lifelong friends, and I checked it out and thought, what better time to support such a cause with the state that the world is in. So I just thought it was like totally a win-win. And yeah, so working on raising my money and trying to support the organization.
Nice. Now, what's the importance of the mountain out west? Obviously, you're a New Hampshire girl. You're New England born and raised. You're climbing all the mountains around here.
Yeah.
What's so special about that one?
So Mount Rainier is the most glaciated peak in the contiguous US, so the lower 48 states, not in Alaska or Hawaii. But basically, the top is totally like ice glaciers. And I did start getting into some things out west recently. So last year, I hiked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. And I summited Mount Whitney, which is the tallest mountain in the contiguous US. And it was totally a random, spur of the moment idea to do that with one of my work friends, actually. I think it was 2019, I just went up to her, and we do a lot of hiking in the Whites together. And I was just like, hey, do you want to climb the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states with me? And she was like, sure, totally. So um, it was like totally a spur of the moment decision. We just decided to hop right into it. We had zero experience with any like elevation or anything like that because we're pretty low here in the Northeast. And it was a huge learning experience. We didn't summit that time. So, me being as stubborn as I am, I had to go back the next year with my boyfriend, and that was 2020. And we went up and we ended up summiting Mount Whitney. And I just kind of wanted to keep the weird, crazy ideas going, and thought, why not grab another 14,000 plus foot mountain, but do the most glaciated peak in the lower 48 states. So it was just kind of a crazy random idea that I had that's kind of grown into other things, if you will. But yeah, so that's kind of where the idea came from.
That's awesome. Sounds cold, which is right up our alley. We like things cold. Which kind of brings me to my next question is what made you reach out to Eastern, and what got you excited when of course we said, yeah, we want to be involved. We want to fuel this epic adventure across out west up Mount Rainier.
Yeah, so something that's really important to me, obviously, besides some of my other passions like hiking and cars and dogs and things like that. Another one of my passions is helping out and trying to help grow, I guess, local businesses. And Eastern obviously is, local to New England. And I wanted to reach out and try to get some exposure for a really awesome company. I also have seen that you guys have, a really awesome company culture that I totally can relate with. And so, yeah, I just thought it was a really good fit. It would be mutually beneficial. And I just kind of reached out, hoping to get a really awesome local company some unique exposure.
Well, we're thankful. We love it, and we're certainly excited about it. And obviously, you talked about the fact that we're New England based. We service Mass, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island. So, what's your favorite climb in New Hampshire and in New England as a whole?
So I would have to say Mount Washington for a few different reasons, but I actually met my boyfriend that I'm seeing up at the summit right now. He's a weather observer on the summit, so I met him up there. But also, just looking at it from the valley, it's like such an intimidating mountain, especially in the winter, seeing it like totally snow covered and cold and windy looking. And a lot of the mountains out here have really given me a lot of, I guess, perspective and confidence, and I can rely on myself, which is really interesting feeling being out in the middle of nowhere, a lot of the time solo as a female, just having to rely completely on myself with what's in my pack on my back, and that's all I have. And it's really given me an appreciation, because even things as simple as like running water and toilets and things like that, it's like, it just gives you an appreciation for very simple things like that you think about and a lot of people in the world don't have access to. So it just definitely gives appreciation.
I like that. Taking off the grid living to a whole new height.
Totally, yeah.
So, and we've talked a little bit about the event, and obviously it's coming up in June. So what's your training schedule leading up to June? Where are you headed? What hikes are you excited to do that are going to help get you ready for this epic adventure in June?
Yeah. So I have a lot of training to do. But I'm starting to kick it off. So obviously I've done the 48 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, and I've been starting to kind of knock some of the ones off in Maine and Vermont as well. But I set a goal for myself this winter, this calendar winter, I guess, which is from December 21st to March 22nd or something like that. I want to do half of the 4,000 footers like in the calendar winter, which is technically a different list, I guess, is doing the 4,000 footers all in the winter. And in doing that, it's my goal to actually finish out my requirements to be an Appalachian Mountain Club leader. So if I can do half the 4,000 footers in this winter, then I can do 3 mentored hikes, and I'll be class 1 AMC leader, which will allow me to basically lead hikes or backpacks wherever, however long, whenever I want. And I'm going to be really focused on, I think, like women's trips specifically, because I went on one several years ago and it was one of the best experiences. It's super awesome seeing women from all levels kind of come together and support each other and just kind of give each other the encouragement that they need to kind of find themselves out there. And that's my goal. And then after this winter passes, I'm hoping to lead a lot of trips up here, and hopefully summit Mount Washington a bunch, because it's right across the street now.
I was going to say, you got a pretty good view.
Yes.
We love being a part of the North Conway area and having an office right there, because it's amazing to just be surrounded by all the different peaks, the ski mountains, but then be right there in the valley, because we've got the view of it all.
Yeah, it's totally a beautiful area. I remember a few years ago, somebody I had befriended that was following on the Appalachian Trail. She's from South Carolina, and she came up here and she messaged me and she's like, I didn't even know we had mountains like this on the East Coast. So yeah, it's definitely a unique and pretty area for sure.
Yeah. So obviously for everybody watching right now, where can they watch for updates? Where are we fueling the adventure? Where can we find Climbing with Christina?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Climb with Christina. And I'll be posting hopefully a lot of training updates there, and then updates throughout the climb as well on my feed and on my story and everything. And I'll be doing some question and answer things, so people can ask what they need to ask and learn something new, hopefully.
Awesome. I love it. And obviously, we're in the business of keeping homes fueled and keeping people warm. With when you're hiking, that's a whole different level. What do you do to keep your tank, your personal tank full? That way you can summit and come back down. And then what's your gear to keep you warm?
Yeah. So I would kind of break this into two different sections. First, I'd say food and water, obviously. And a while ago, I was trying to do the vegetarian thing, which was really difficult, trying to figure out like how to get enough protein and stuff on the trail. But what I've come to find out is that I don't like the freeze dried meals that are usually readily available. So I've learned to actually dehydrate my own stuff, and make my own meals. And I try to do like dried fruits and jerkies and stuff like that. And then every once in a while, you have to like have a good Snickers bar or Rice Krispie treat or something like that, for a little extra motivation. So another important thing is just to constantly be reminding yourself to stay hydrated with like water with electrolytes, because you're sweating so much of the salt and everything out. You have to be replacing that, and constantly remembering to snack, because it's really hard to stay warm if your body isn't fueled. And it's interesting because I've been able to kind of like feel it coming now. Like my fingers and toes will start to get cold, or I'll start to shiver a little bit, and I'll be like, okay, I need to eat something. And it's so weird because like literally 5 minutes after eating something, it's like, okay, I feel like better already. And it's crazy. So that is definitely a huge piece of it. And then as far as gear, I would say it's really important to have like a layering system. So a lot of people have like the ski jackets and the ski pants that are the insulation layer, but have the shell like attached on top of it. And that type of layering, I guess, wouldn't really work as well with hiking, because you want to be able to constantly regulate your body temperature. And in order to do that, you need to have a lot of different like options to take on and or take off and put on throughout the hike. And my personal layering system, I have a base layer that's usually wool or some kind of synthetic wicking material so it doesn't soak up sweat. And then I have a thin like quarter zip waffle knit fleece that I put over that. Then I have a thicker fleece that I put over that. And then that's usually all I wear on the hike because I'm constantly moving. So like a lot of the time I won't even have that heavier fleece on, and I'll put it on when I get to the top or whatever, when I'm taking breaks to stay warm. But I also have a big puffy jacket in my pack for when I'm hanging out at camp, or if I'm taking longer breaks, or if something happens and there's an emergency and I'm there longer than I expect. And then there's a shell layer that goes on top of that to keep out water and wind. So it's kind of an extensive system. It's taken a lot to kind of shake out and figure out what works best for me. But the mountains out here, like Mount Washington and everything, obviously has the worst weather, you know, in the country or in the world, I guess. And it's been a really good kind of training ground for something like Mount Rainier, to try to figure out what kind of layering system is going to work for me. What do I need to stay warm, and things like that. So
Wow, layering is key.
yeah. Yeah, and it's hard, like especially on like the pants layer. It's like, okay, what do I put on? And I just actually found this really awesome like fleece layer. I've never seen fleece pants before.
Oh.
But I do like a fleece lined legging and then a thicker fleece pant, and then I have a soft shell pant to put over that if I need. So stay warm. But yeah, it definitely works well to regulate my body temperature as I'm going up and down and taking breaks and everything.
Awesome. I like it. It sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of work. You've got a lot of training ahead of you, but we at Eastern are super excited to watch your journey, to be a part of the journey, and we're thankful for your time tonight. So before I let you go on your fundraising, where are you at? Where's your goal that might be a little bit more than what you've got to raise in order to be a part of the event? Where can people find it? I'll make sure that we link to your site to make sure that it's super easy for people to get involved if they want to help fuel your adventure along with us. We're super excited to be a part of the journey and go out there and get it.
Yeah, I really appreciate Eastern support. It means a lot. Having, local businesses having my back throughout this journey, especially out west, because I want to support New England out there. And so for my fundraising goal, my fundraising goal is a minimum of $4,250. And I am most of the way there, but I'm told that, and obviously, if I can raise more, it's great because, like I said before, all of the proceeds go to the Lung Association. So that'll be going into lung disease research and COVID research, and hopefully be able to help kind of curb this pandemic so we can all hug each other again and be normal and shake hands and things like that. So yeah, I really appreciate your support. It means a lot. And thank you.
Of course. Again, we're super excited to be fueling your adventure, and we'll look forward to doing this again one more time before you head off out west in early June to just check in on all things training and what you got going on. And we look forward to seeing all the posts in between now and then.
Definitely. Great.
Awesome. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.